Close your eyes for a moment. Picture a single candle in a dark room. Now, imagine blowing it out without a sound. No song, no crowd, just the quiet hiss of the flame disappearing. That's what a birthday feels like for millions. Not a day of fanfare, but a day of quiet passage. But here's the haunting question. Is that a sign of true peace or a carefully constructed fortress? When was the last time you actually felt your birthday? Not just acknowledged the date, but felt it in your bones like you did as a child. That pure, uncomplicated excitement at the sight of balloons, a frosted cake, the feeling of everyone's eyes turned towards you, just for you. Now, fast forward. The date rolls around on your phone. It comes and goes, but it feels hollow, like any other Tuesday. You get a few notifications, maybe your mom calls, and then you move on.
I don't really celebrate. It's just another day. But is it? Underneath that practiced nonchalance, there's a quiet story waiting to be heard. People who treat their birthday like a normal day aren't cold or detached. Often, they're the most reflective. They have learned, through subtle and not-so-subtle experiences, to hide their expectations, because disappointment was the teacher. Psychologically, birthdays are emotional mirrors. They reflect back how you feel about being alive, how you relate to attention, and how comfortable you are with being seen. So when someone says, "I don't care," what they often mean is, "I've stopped expecting it." And that is a universe of difference. There's a chasm between genuine maturity and emotional withdrawal. Birthdays hold up a mirror, showing us which side of that chasm we've leaned into. Some people grow out of birthday excitement from a place of profound, hard-won peace. They find meaning woven into ordinary days, in morning coffee, in a day's work well done.
To them, joy isn't confined to a circled date. Life itself is the celebration. But for others, the story is different. Birthdays bring a low-grade anxiety. It's rarely about age. It's about memory. Maybe it reminds them of feeling forgotten. Or maybe they once cared too much, pictured a perfect day only to be met with silence or last-minute cancellations. The heart learned a painful lesson, so now they declare, it's just another day. It's protection, a psychological shield disguised as indifference. This is where the mind's brilliant adaptive machinery shows itself. After repeated emotional letdowns, the brain performs a survival maneuver. It lowers the bar. This is emotional self-protection. You reduce anticipation to preempt disappointment. You teach yourself not to hope too loud. It's a raw form of emotional intelligence, prioritizing stability over excitement, because excitement led to pain. But here's the twist. Over time, that same shield can dull your capacity for joy. The heart that bravely protected itself becomes a little too fortified. You start walking through life like a polite guest at someone else's party. Observant, pleasant, but distant.
On the periphery of your own celebration. Think about this. How many people do you know who smile tightly and say, "Oh, I don't do birthdays," but later in the quiet, replay the day? Noticing who didn't message, who forgot. We all do it, even those who claim most vehemently they don't care, because caring is human. Pretending not to care is itself a form of caring, just inverted, compressed, hidden under a shell. Psychologists see this as avoidant validation seeking. You convince yourself you don't need recognition precisely because a deeper part of you is terrified of not getting it. This pattern takes root when you learn your emotional needs were inconvenient, that it was safer to need nothing. So when you meet someone who treats their birthday as normal, don't assume detachment. Sometimes they've made a weary peace with disappointment. They've traded the roller coaster for the steady ground of control. But control has a cost. Underneath, it's just another day, lies a universal truth. We all want to be seen, genuinely, for who we are. A birthday is a marker of existence itself, the one day that belongs irrevocably to you.
Not for your achievements, but simply because you are. And that reminder stirs a cocktail: gratitude and loneliness in the same heartbeat. It's nostalgia and indifference. Birthdays are stopwatches for the soul. They whisper of time, of how far we've come, and echo with how far we haven't. For some, treating the day as normal is a tactic to keep the weight of time from feeling too heavy. If I don't make it a big deal, it won't feel like another year slipping away. There's a cultural shift, too. In childhood, birthdays are proof of belonging. In adulthood, that spotlight can feel harsh. Many wrestle with a deep tension between the desire to be noticed and the fear of seeming needy. This plays out in how they treat their birthday. When you grow up as the responsible one, the giver, you internalize a message. Your joy comes second. You downplay your needs. You remember everyone else's dates, but let your own fade. Over years, your birthday starts to feel irrelevant. You're not sure what you'd do with a surprise. The thought feels awkward. But here's the gentle truth. That discomfort with being celebrated isn't always humility. Often, it's emotional fatigue. Deep down, many still crave to be seen, but not with fanfare. They want understanding. They want someone to remember not just their date of birth, but who they've been becoming all year. That's the paradox of emotional maturity.
The more self-reliant you become, the harder it can feel to receive love without suspicion. So birthdays become neutral zones, places where vulnerability gets replaced by practicality. It's fine, you say. Let's just get through the day. But behind that, the mind processes a silent storm, nostalgia for simpler joy, a subtle sadness for faded connections, a fierce gratitude for survival, and a soft, almost imperceptible longing for the kind of celebration that doesn't need to be planned. If you've ever felt strange about your birthday, like you're supposed to feel something you just don't, know you are profoundly normal. You're not ungrateful. You're aware. Aware that time is a river, that validation feels different now, that true celebration means something deeper than cake. Birthdays were never about age. They're about meaning. The older we get, the more personal that meaning becomes. As a kid, your birthday was about the world recognizing you. As an adult, it's about you recognizing yourself. Less about the presents, more about your own presence. Less about who shows up at a party, more about how much of you has shown up in your own life. That's the subtle shift. We stop making a big deal because we've stopped trying to be celebrated by the world and started the harder, quieter work of making peace with our own journey. But listen, even in that peace, there's an echo, a quiet voice that whispers, "I hope someone still remembers." That is the beautiful human paradox. You can be content and still crave connection.
You can be grounded and still miss the thrill of being seen, and that's okay. Treating your birthday like a normal day doesn't mean you're numb. It might mean you've learned that joy isn't something to be scheduled. It's something you carry quietly within you, every day, in the small, brave ways you keep showing up for yourself. It's the softest celebration, invisible, but utterly real. So if your birthday ever feels like just another day, don't feel guilty. See it for what it might be, Not emptiness, but evolution. The mind learning that profound meaning doesn't need noise. And yet, in the quiet, if someone remembers you, let them. Let them say your name. Let them remind you that you matter, because you do, even on the most ordinary of days, especially then. Maybe that's the most beautiful part of growing up, learning that the truest celebration doesn't always need confetti. Sometimes it just needs awareness, a moment of stillness, a deep, conscious breath. You don't have to make a wish upon a candle. You already are one, a living, breathing continuation of every version of yourself that fought, that hoped, that lasted, that made it here. And that is worth honoring, quietly or not, every single year.